Hi, y'all. I'm back. And hopefully, y'all got my message there that I'm back. Hey, Erin, is that better? I'm so sorry. I don't know what else to do. I guess I'm just supposed to teach today. Give everybody a few minutes to get back on. It seems better. Maybe I should have restarted it a while back, but it seems like it was just all around. Aw. Okay, guys, I'm back. So, all right. Yay, Erin and Kimberly, Jay, Carl, Hearts of Grace. I don't know. I don't know, y'all, if it's my internet. I don't know if it's YouTube. I mean, I hear things about stuff all the time, and my husband has been checking on our internet and working on it, and I don't know. So, I do like the idea of maybe plugging straight in to the internet, so and not doing Wi-Fi. So we might have to figure something out like that eventually. So, anyways, well, just watch the playback for a little bit of news piece, just some fun things there. I know the playback will be fun, but we'll get into part 2. I'll do some Wednesday weather here for you because it's very interesting what's going on in the weather today on Wednesday. And then we'll get right into our teaching. My teaching's not very long today, although I tend to be a little bit long-winded. But I'm just going to keep lighting up in Christ, and no weapon formed against me will prosper. You got that right. All right, here we go. Let me show you what I saw on the monitor this morning, the weather monitor. I saw Hurricane Juliet, Ferdinand, Dorian in number 8 out here. And when I rechecked it, number 8 became Juliet. I'm sorry, Gabrielle, Hurricane Gabrielle, or Tropical Storm Gabrielle. So this is the order, though. I know they kind of look like they're going up some stairs here. You see step, step, step like that. But the order is Dorian's first, Juliet, Ferdinand, Gabrielle. So there's a message here I want to share. And I don't see the earthquakes, but there were some earthquakes too around this area and all down the west coast of South America. The earth has been shaking and groaning and all that crazy stuff. All right, so here we go. Now there's 4 named storms going on in our area, so to speak. I think there might be one over by Japan too. I didn't check out the details of that, but here we go. Dorian. Remember how I took Dor and Ian? And the message is Yahweh is gracious through the generations. Yahweh is gracious. See, all of creation is groaning. All of creation has a message to give us. Yahweh is gracious through the generations. Next was Juliet. Juliet, the etymology is literally goes all the way down to Jupiter, which was considered a small g god, which we've been talking about, or Zeus, another name, aka ultimately Satan himself. So no matter his presence, Yahweh is gracious through the generations. Ferdinand means a daring and brave journey. A daring and brave journey. Okay, so this is what we do. We just keep on keeping on, no matter what. And we know that no weapon formed against us, like the guy who lit up the cigarette, it's just cool, calm, and collective. No weapon formed against us on this brave and daring journey. And then storm number 8, tropical storm number 8, New Beginnings, became Gabrielle just a few hours ago. Gabrielle comes from the name Gabriel, which means that God is my strong man. Yahweh, God, my hero. And Gabriel is an archangel who was a messenger angel. So there's a message here. We trust in the Lord that on whatever brave and daring journey we go on, whatever we face, Yahweh is gracious through every generation. He's gracious to cleanse our bloodline. And that's what we're talking about with How on Earth Did We End Up Here? Part 4, the corrupted bloodlines from the fallen angels, or the ones that wanted to be worshipped as gods, aka one of them being Jupiter. So the mess we got into is because of their rebellion started by their leader, Satan, in the garden. That's wave 1. We've talked about wave 2. We talked about how these fallen angels came to try to restore immortality by creating the Nephilim, or offspring, which we call the Nephilim. There's other names for them. And then wave 3, I won't get into the full details of wave 3 today of the rebellions, just getting an understanding of how did we get here? And no, this was not God's original purpose. That's why Christ was sent, because immortality is restored in Christ alone, and we do not want to mess with anything outside of that, like Jeffrey Epstein was doing. So, wave number 3, more divine council members in the heavenlies rebel and lure the empire of Babylon into a rebellion, and they give birth to the scattered nation of idol worshipers. All right, here we go. So, after Noah, I'm going to do a lot of reading today, so bear with me, and we'll be explaining some things here. After Noah's sons and their wives got off the ark, they were told that they are to divide and go their own ways, each becoming a network of people groups that develop their own language. So here it is in Genesis 10, verse 1, also 2 through 5, 6 through 20, and 21 through 31. I'll read this for you. Okay, so these are the generations of the son of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood, the sons of Japheth. Verse 5, from these coastland peoples spread in their lands, each with their own language, by their clans in their nations. 6, the sons of Ham, down verse 20. These are the sons of Ham by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born, the sons of Shem. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days the land was divided. Man, y'all, this is crazy because years and years ago, I woke up and I was hearing Peleg, Peleg, Peleg. And I was like, what in the world is Peleg? Like, I know I had read it probably here in Genesis, but did not have any idea what it meant. So I looked it up and learned that in the days of Peleg, apparently there was like one big landmass, and it was because of the flood that things were divided. And in the last verse here, verse 31, these are the sons of Shem by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. Okay. Fallen angels creating themselves as a god, a small g god. And I will say this too, one of the things that when the angels did come here and interact with humans, and this is Genesis chapter 6, they taught men every kind of evil under the sun, including, since we're in this time period of hurricanes, they taught men weather modification. So keep that in your belt for future reference. So we can know how in the world did we end up here. So here we go. So the 3 sons of Noah are listed here. They are the descendants who make up the original 70 nations. Okay, so there's a council of 70. And so these principalities became ruler over the original 70 nations in the world. And basically they wanted to be worshiped. And so The peoples of the earth have been doing that over the years. Okay, so you read about ancient history and the ancient peoples, they had different names for their small g gods, but it was the same fallen angel that they worshiped. And they also worshiped their offspring, which in the form of demonic spirits, because in the flood, their offspring, the Nephilim, lost their bodies. So now they have their spirits just roaming in places, seeking who they can attack and inhabit. But notice that each list here ends with this phrase, each with their own language. This story assumes that the nations are already divided up with their own languages. However, this story has not been told yet because it's actually told in chapter 11 of Genesis. So really, what happened in Genesis 11 came before what happened in Genesis 10. Isn't that interesting? So I want to encourage you to take that and just read it that way. Read chapter 11 and then read chapter 10. The divisions of the descendants of Noah is connected to the obscure comment in chapter 10, verse 25, in the days of Peleg, the land was divided. Whatever it was that separated the nations into languages is called a division in this passage. The division happens in the days of Peleg, which means division in Hebrew. The reader, we are left to ponder this until we discover the backstory of Genesis 11, which is about this very thing, scattering and dividing the nations. And this leads to the obvious conclusion that Genesis 10 and 11 are not arranged in chronological order, like I just said, but have been placed in that not chronological order for a thematic reason. And that reason is the rebellion at Babylon. Now we'll talk about that more next time because I'm reading these books and they're awesome. And I want to just share some things because we're seeing things even in the news that this stuff, like nothing is new under the sun. This stuff is happening again. Everything comes full circle. That's Hebraic thinking, by the way. Greek thinking is linear. There's a beginning, there's an end, and all done. No, that's not the case. That's not the truth. The truth is, in Hebraic thinking, it's circular. Everything comes around. It's like I lost the word for it. An algorithm, right? An algorithm. All right, let's take a little bit closer look at the one who started this all. Revelation 2. I'm going to read Revelation 2, 12 through 13. It says the message. I'll just read it in the message. Revelation 2, 12 through 13. Okay. Write this to Pergamum, to the angel of the church. The one with the sharp, biting sword draws from the sheath of his mouth. Out come the sword words. I see where you live, right under the shadow of Satan's throne. But you continue boldly in my name, kind of like the guy held up at gunpoint that I showed in the first video that was all jacked up. So hopefully you can see the replay of that. Even when the pressure was worst, when they martyred Antipas. Oh, boldly in my name. You've never once denied my name, even when the pressure was worst, when they martyred Antipas, my witness, who stayed faithful to me on Satan's turf. Oh, this is cool. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read a little bit here. The last paragraph on page 72 in Gods and Thrones. So twice we are told in the very last book of the Bible that Satan has an earthly residence and that he has a throne that is situated in a certain geographical location on the earth. Okay, so this is an actual place. Now remember, Satan does not have a kingdom. God has a kingdom. He does have realms and spots and places of darkness, but he does not have a kingdom of darkness. And from everything else we have learned, we can deduce that Satan has set himself up as a small e, Elohim prince of that principality region. And according to this author, he says, what is that region? He believes it's modern day Turkey. That's what he believes. I haven't done any more extra research on that, but I'll just leave that right there. And then I just want to end here that not only then were the 70 nations that were formed and divided in Genesis chapter 10 and 11, not only were they diabolically, I like the way they put it here, and directly inspired by the rebellious Elohim under Satan's direct orders, the original 70 nations, not only were they then, it's still happening now. Okay? Like I said, nothing new under the sun. Okay, and now I want to read this one, The Day the Earth Stands Still. Some examples of these different types of religions they're definitely demonic religions that have taken place in the earth since the beginning of time, okay, even since the garden, you think about that. Just a belief system built on other than something God spoke. Yahweh spoke, a belief system built on something else. There is one here. Well, I like the way Derek Gilbert takes these. He basically is giving us a study of these religions and how they tie into the ET movement of the day, the extraterrestrial movement of the day. Now, let me read to you. Oh, I don't think I read that one. I'm going to start with, let's see, it says here, page 37, about this woman right here. Let me show you her picture. Helena Blavatsky. Okay. Helena Blavatsky created a religious theosophy. The Theosophy. Theosophy. I guess that's how you say it. So she created this movement. Okay. And basically, it's a movement about so much enlightenment that you become your own God. I do want to read this, though, here. Well, let me tell you the dates. Although some of this is still happening today in 2019. Let's see. It says the 1850s and the 1860s. But her most famous book, Isis Unveiled, was published in 1877. So it's been a while, over 100 years. And you know what's so crazy is we went to lunch on Labor Day, me and my husband and son. And the lady who checked us out at lunch, her name was Isis. So that was pretty crazy. I took note of that. But with nothing but the force of her powerful will, Madame Helena Blavatsky, who founded convinced thousands that the history they'd been taught was a lie and that humanity's future was to return to the golden age that was lost when Atlantis slipped beneath the waves. Yes, Atlantis. To put it simply, Theosophy, Helena Blavatsky gave the world a religious faith in human evolution as an integral part of cosmic evolution. The ultimate goal was perfection and conscious participation in the evolutionary process. Self-directed evolution, a concept that spurred the eugenics movement. We saw that kind of coming out recently with J.E. and his Zorro Ranch. Of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, and although they don't admit it, the transhumanist movement today. Blavatsky taught that this process was overseen by the masters of the ancient wisdom, a hierarchy of spiritual beings, or the fallen angels' offspring, who'd been guiding humanity's development for millennia. So, common lies here. Humanity is the product of random evolutionary chance. We once enjoyed a golden age when we lived like gods, and our destiny is to regain that exalted status through the proper spiritual discipline, ultimately to become one with God and the cosmos. This describes a common belief system that Dr. Peter Jones calls oneism. Obviously, this is fundamentally at odds with the Christian faith, which recognizes that we are not Yahweh, God. We have Christ in us, and we are being transformed more and more to look and act like Christ, like he did, to bring restoration and to bring healing to all creation, yes. But this right here is just interesting because just like when the fallen angels tried to restore immortality to humans, they also tried to somehow say, look, let's bring back this golden age, and you do it by becoming your own God. And that is so far from the truth. But we'll see how this, and he doesn't make a connection here, how it's tied to the ET disclosure movement. But I'll get into that because I'm only on page 39. I'm reading these slowly but surely. But my point is, when you see something like that, you say, okay, well, these fallen angels were not fallen at one time. They literally stood in the counsel of Yahweh day and night. They understood him. They understood his heart. They knew the truth. They knew what was coming upon the earth. They knew that humanity had been lost, and they decided, well, let's go fix it ourselves. We want to become like Yahweh. And they rebelled and they fell. So, of course, they're going to create these religions. And I'm excited about reading more about these religions because we're seeing this stuff manifest again in 2019. I mean, it's always been around, but it's almost in your face if you just watch the news, especially with all this stuff that's coming down with human trafficking and the ties to Satanism, and it's just crazy. So anyways, yeah, I'm excited to unpack some more of this, but that's all I'm going to teach today and leave that there because we're all learning. You have things that I don't, and we need to learn together. And so I'm just grateful that our hope is Christ in us. That is our hope. He alone. And he draws us through relationship. And obviously, whenever you get into a relationship with Jesus Christ, you will find that you will fall so madly in love with him. You'll just find that he's the best thing that's ever happened to your life. And so, yes, you turn and you follow him. He asks you, would you follow me? And he says, yeah. And I say, yes. You say yes. He or she says yes, because you get a taste of that relationship, not the dictatorship. He is our king, and we are co-heirs with him. And so there you go. I'm just excited about continuing to know his heart and just let it unfold to me. So anyways, well, y'all, I'm done. I am so, again, I know I don't need to apologize, but I am. I'm sorry about the first broadcast being glitchy and all that. Like I said earlier, hopefully you can get the playback. Check out our news piece mugs. Kimberly, our friend Kimberly, she's been creating these. She's been news piece merchandise on Facebook. You don't have to have Facebook to actually click on the link to look at what there is. And she's got an email in the description box below. You can email her if you want a mug or want some soap, some news piece soap. All right, I've been talking a really long time this morning, so I'm going to go. Y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow for a little bit of Throwback Thursday, if I come up on a good Throwback Thursday story. I love y'all so much. See you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.